Hey, you're in the Hangout. What's going on, brother?
Not much. What are you doing?
Oh, I'm chilling at the homestead, man.
Yeah, same here.
Feeling good about tonight, though.
Yeah, you're kidding.
Hey, let's hear it for our sponsors. Let's talk about Backbeat Music right here in San Angelo. We love them and can't do the show without them. Hopefully our production guy's listening and he can put their picture up. There they are.
Backbeat
Music. They rock. All right, and we've got Media Jaw is our other sponsor now. Media Jaw with Jody Gentry. He's come to the plate and he's helping us out. In fact, he just launched our new website, which is www.thehangout.live. You can actually go on there and order your shirts. You can do all your fun stuff. You can check out our bios, who's coming up, who's been on. You can watch their videos. It's magic, baby.
Magic, like last week, magic. And then we got our wine sponsor, Heavy Metal Mead. Heavy Metal Mead tonight. That's what you have. Look at, yes. See, we got to keep only a glass per week. That's it. One glass. Sometimes I might go a glass and a half.
One really big glass.
Yeah, I'll be using this next week too.
Right
Glass
on,
and a half,
right on.
half a bottle.
Right?
Jessica has a little bit too, but Heavy Metal Mead from Brad. Mr. Brad and Kim.
It's lovely. Lovely.
Yeah.
All right. I think we just jump in. What do you think?
Well, did you want to say something about Rita first? Or you want to
Yeah. One of our family, one of our hangouters, Rita, has lost her brother here in the last couple of days. So our hearts and prayers go out to you and your family, and very sorry for your loss. So let us know how you're doing. That's sad. All right.
On that note,
love you, Rita.
How do you transitions from that? But let's bring Jimmy in and.
All right, let's bring him in.
Yeah.
Let's bring him in. Knock, knock.
What's happening?
What's going on, my brother? How you doing?
I'm fantastic. How you doing?
I'm good, man. You look good rocking the hawk.
Like that?
It's killer. Just got to put the egg whites in it and stand it up.
Is that how you do it?
Yeah.
Oh.
You want to stay up, right?
If you want to stay up, and yeah.
Jimmy, thank you so much for joining us tonight, man. We truly appreciate it. I had an incredible conversation with you yesterday, and I can't wait to dive into this tonight, man, because you're truly going to be a great guest.
Oh, thank you. Well, I hope I can live up to that. That's for sure.
So, Jimmy, we're going to go back to the beginning, baby. We're going to go way back, South Boston in 1968.
Oh.
Wow, all right.
I can remember that.
Hey, as they say, that was the single worst year on the planet, so it probably has a little something to do with me showing up.
I doubt that very much, my brother. So
you ever see that Time magazine cover though, 1968? It's look it up, Time magazine, 1968. That magazine says that was the hardest year on this planet.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Probably, I'm guessing Vietnam and.
Yeah, totally. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. I was actually born like at the end of Vietnam. I was born in 73.
Really?
Yeah.
You look older than I do.
Thank you. So that was a great show tonight. Make sure you check out City on a Hill. Oh, ouch.
You know, hey, who am I if I'm not trying to bust them a little bit, right?
Right. You got to.
Right. I'm sure you'll be busting mine.
Right on. So what's it like, man, growing up in South Philly? Little Jimmy wandering the streets.
South Philly.
South Boston, man. Philly.
Holy shit. We're better looking than
Philly
those people. We're better looking than the people in Philly by about that much. You know, but I actually, let me tell you, I worked on The Sixth Sense, and I was there working on that movie. But when I was in Philly, the one thing that I did feel like is that it was very close to growing up in Boston. In other words, the people there, you know, they just, it was funny. They made me feel like I was in my hometown when I was there working, you know?
Wow.
So, but South Boston, let me tell you about it. Growing up in South Boston. Okay. Growing up in Boston so I was born in South Boston into, a family of the time I was third of, there would be 7 kids. And, my parents were born in South Boston as well. And I have got 63 first cousins. And there was a point when all of us were in Boston / South Boston.
Wow.
Yeah.
63 first cousins.
63. I know everyone by names. We know each other intimately.
Is there nothing else to do in Boston than spend some time in the bedroom or what?
You know what? I just think that they were very happy to be in America, and they just made it happen, right?
Right on, brother. I've got 7 kids myself, so I get it.
You've got 7 kids?
I've got 7 kids, my brother.
7 children?
Yes. Well, no, I mean, my oldest is 30, my youngest is 7.
Holy Moses.
Right.
That's why you're working double time, huh?
Well, I figured out what caused it, so now I bronzed it and I hung it up on the mantle. Every once in a while I salute it, Hey there, little fella, we had some nice times together.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, we're looking for it. It's back there somewhere.
It popped off 7 kids. I can't complain,
It's potent.
Right? So, South Boston, man, so many names, so many families, so many people coming out of South Boston that have just taken over the entertainment industry, and it's incredible. I've been watching so much about you here lately. Of course, I've been binge watching your new show, and we'll get to that here in just a moment. But going back to the days of like Southie that you had with Donnie Wahlberg, it looks intense, brother. I mean, I want to go to Boston, but now I'm kind of afraid to.
Well, I don't think that exists anymore. I don't think the neighborhood pride and it's funny because growing up, you always hear these stories of like, well, if you couldn't go to the next neighborhood, you couldn't go to the next corner, and that's not really true, but you had to fight your way through it. So once you fought your way on that corner, you didn't have to fight again on that corner. So it's not like you had to do it twice. So everyone did have to fight their way through the neighborhood, but it was all, I hate to say it's all in good fun, right? But it really is, because all those kids that I ever had a fight with are all my best friends today, So the kids who didn't step up for themselves, they don't really have those friends that I have, and so like, you can look at it and you can say that growing up in the city of Boston was a tough place and all this stuff, but I don't think any different probably from New Jersey or New York or, any other heavy Irish, Catholic, because, even though South Boston will say, oh, it's Irish. No, it's Irish, Polish, there's Italian. I mean, South Boston has everybody there. They really do. They have every race of people.
Nice, man. So at what point did you leave for New York?
Oh, I was 20 years old, really, my entire life, all I ever really wanted to be was an actor. And, it just all of a sudden I was getting old. I'm 19 years old. I got a full-time job. I'm making, 70, 80 grand a year. And it's like, wait a minute. I wanted to do something other than what I'm doing. I was working at General Electric Company at the time. And it just, when you grow up and you have a dream or you have a desire to do something and your time is running out, the only one that knows that is you.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And it was like, okay. So I went to my mother and I'm like, I really, I want to be an actor and I want to move to New York. And, she was like completely against that and completely against, giving an opportunity, something I wanted to do a try. Now, but I had an older brother and he had just gotten a job at Heidelberg. It's a printing press company, and he was going to New York too. So I was like, so we went together. So I didn't have to go alone when I went, but we didn't just like anything, you know, my brother and I went to New York City together, but he ended up met a girl and he got married, and, you know, and then here I was in New York by myself. I didn't know anybody. I knew one other guy, Jerry Shea. Jerry Shea was a Broadway star. He was in Southie. He played Martin Powers in the movie Southie. He plays in City on a Hill. He actually plays, you know, the state cop. So it's kind of funny. The guy that kills me in Southie is the guy after me in City on a Hill. So isn't it ironic?
So you guys have stayed friends this entire time, man.
Oh man, that guy Jerry Shea is like, I look up to him. He's like a big brother to me. He was, you know, growing up in the neighborhood, like in Boston. So I didn't know anyone that was an actor. I didn't know anyone that could be an actor. I didn't know how to be an actor. There was no one to follow. But Jerry Shea was just a kid from the neighborhood, and he went on to Boston College, and he went to NYU grad school, and then he started on Broadway in Guys and Dolls, and then he was the lead in Passion, James Lapine's Passion, and you know he was nominated for Tony. So here's a guy from my neighborhood who I had watched do this, and here I am in New York City. Well, I would call him up on the phone. He'd say, "Well, come on down." Now, this is like 1988, 89. So where, you know, he's got in his room, his dorm room, he's got a black and white television, right? And he's got the antenna coming out of the back because, we just got cable. You know what I mean? We just got all these things. So the very first night that I got to New York City and him and I hung out together, he put on the TV and Raging Bull happened to be on the television that night. So the irony that he and I would go on to make Southie together, like, 7 years later, because 7 years later we made the movie. I mean, we were sitting in his dorm room. Never would I think that he would play Martin Powers, right? Never would I think that I was going to write a movie. Never would I think that, the New Kids on the Block, I think they had just kind of hit, right?
Right.
So, I'd never think that I'd be making a movie with Donnie Wahlberg. You know what I mean? I'd never fathomed that I would ever know him, because he wasn't on my radar, I knew his brothers, but I didn't know him.
So you told me yesterday in a story that you didn't know that New Kids were actually from your neighborhood. You thought they were New York.
I did, because I was in New York City at the time, and I was seeing these posters of, Jordan, Donnie, Danny, Joey, and John, right? I'm like, who are those guys, right? And then I'd be like, oh, this must be like this New York thing, right? And then what happened was I went home to visit my mother, and my younger brother at the time was probably, 7, 8 years old. And all he wanted to talk about was Donnie Wahlberg and the New Kids on the Block. And I was like, how does he know who they are? And then he went on to tell me everything about them.
Really?
And that's how I got to find out who the New Kids on the Block were, yeah.
So my wife, I can actually see her ears perking because she's saying, New Kids, New Kids, New Kids.
That's funny, man. Donnie Wahlberg, I'll say this about that guy. He is, without a doubt, he's the New Kids on the Block. Like, they all are. But, I know the story, and it was him that put that group together as a little kid. He was a little kid, and he loved his friends. And, Joey was the last one to be on, but he was the instigator to put that group together.
Really?
Oh, yeah. He was the first one to audition with Maurice Starr, and then he made him audition these other people. They got it. And then Marky Wahlberg was supposed to be in it, but he didn't want to sing those types of songs. He didn't want to do that stuff, and he didn't want to spend the time putting it in. So he ended up not doing it. And then Joey McIntyre auditioned, and he got him the New Kids on the Block. That's how they came together. But that's from what Donnie told me. I could be completely wrong, but that's what he told me.
Well, that would have changed the whole landscape of the band if Mark and Donnie were both in the band.
I don't think it would have happened because
I think
Johnny,
it would have been different.
Yeah, Joey can sing, right? Marky can rap. We know he did do Good Vibrations. That song's still like the biggest song ever, right? Still played every event, every game. So, I think that, listen, what's fate and what's destiny, right? What is, it's two sides of a coin, but it's all one coin,
Yeah, absolutely, my brother. Absolutely. Yeah. So let's talk about South. How did this even come about? I mean, where did you get the inspiration for the movie? Tell us the behind the story.
Well, you know, it's like what I really love to this day is they haven't got any of these movies right. They haven't got like any movie they've made in Boston. They just haven't got it right yet, right? And it's because they keep trying to write movies about people from Boston, and they keep having other people write them. Like if you watch The Town with, you know, that movie is phenomenal, right? It's a phenomenal movie, very well made. I mean, you look at The Fighter, it's well made. These are movies that, you know, they're made because they come from the inside outward, right? Yep. And it's like the thing about Boston is that everybody's trying to claim that, like, I'm from Boston, you know, and well, where you from in Boston? Oh, well, you know, I'm from Winchester. It's like, well, that's not Boston, you know, and where you from in Boston, from Westwood, well, it's not Boston, right? And then you get us guys like me, Donnie, Marky, you know, any guys who are from the city, you know, and some are like, oh, you must know Matt and Ben. It's like, they're from Boston. It's like, well, actually, they're from Cambridge, right? So it's like, it's this ongoing thing of where you're from, because it's like my mother put it really simple, okay? I had gone to Ireland, and I had gone back to where all my relatives are from, where we come from. So I say to my mother, I get back, and she says, how? So I said, well, you know what, Ma? It's so incredible to see where I'm from. My mother goes, you're not from Ireland, Jimmy Cummings. You're from South Boston. Right? So, you know, she set me straight. Like, I'm Irish. I am not from Ireland. I am from South Boston, Irish South Boston. And, you know, that is something that, you know, I'm alive and I can say that.
Right.
I'm alive. I can say it. I made it through it. I seen people who didn't. I seen them before they didn't, and they're not there anymore. And they're not around anymore. I mean, look, my father died on the streets of South Boston. You know, it's people live and die in Southie.
So your dad died in South Boston. Was it violent or?
No, well, yeah, he was killed by a drunk driver. You know, he was crossing the street and he was killed by a drunk driver. It was on the night of my little brother's birthday. And, you know, my mother was left with 7 kids, you know, 7 kids. My oldest brother was 17. My youngest brother was 1. So when you ask where the inspiration of the movie comes from, it's, you know, I guess it's me and my brothers always trying to be there to help my mother. And, you know, there was never, so there's no hero in my family, you know. Everybody at one time or another took their spot and did what they had to do for the family. And, you know, and that's what it is. Now, my brother Timmy, my father died on his birthday. My brother Timmy died. He died when he was 34 years old. And, you know, he carried that with him his whole life, that his father died. And we never, you know, in the family, it's like it made it difficult we didn't talk about my father for 10 years after he died. You know, because It's like, you can't talk about it with somebody else crying. Like, for us, we were horrified and, you know, it was terrible. But, you know, here we are as a family group together to get over it. And then, you know, you'd be somewhere and someone would bring up your father's name and the next people start crying, you know, and it's like, it's just uncomfortable because you're doing everything you can to build a wall so that never happens to you, because growing up your whole life, you were told if you cry, you're a baby, you're weak, right? And you wish they would say, no, cry, baby, cry, right? You want to make you cry.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So now that movie, Robbie watched it last night and I watched it too, now there's a scene in that movie. I don't want to say too much because I want people to actually watch the movie, but where Donnie Wahlberg, his character, is sitting on a staircase and he's got his billfold open and he's looking at a picture of his dad, and his mom comes up and she walks up beside him and sees what he's doing, and then she just stops and you can see the pain in her face, and she turns around and walks back away. Now that just has so much more.
That's my father, that picture.
Oh, wow.
Oh my God.
That's
wow.
My father in that picture. Donnie, man. Donnie was like, that day, I didn't even know. And I don't know how he got his hands on a picture of my father, but he made sure that that picture was of my father. You know what I mean? He made sure. And look, in this movie, I'm his fucking enemy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we were best of friends throughout the making of that movie, and you know, the process of getting that done. And it, like when he just, whatever inside of him made him decide to hold that photo. I was sure he was going to hold, you know, his father's or something meant something to him. You know, I would have expected that because, you know, if you're a performer, you guys know it's like whatever it takes for you to get close to whatever it is that you have to perform at that moment, you're going to use, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And for him to take that picture and use, I remember, I'll never forget it. My brothers, my sisters, my mother, we all were in this theater together, and there was 500 people in the theater when we all saw it together. But when that picture came up, I could feel every one of them in that room. I didn't know where they were, but I knew they were there. So I don't know what that means. You know, I have no idea what that means.
Wow.
Wow. And I guess, yeah, I mean, just how poignant that part of that movie was, and just connected to your story. I had no idea that was your dad in that photo. That's incredible.
You know what? If you didn't bring up this story, I wouldn't remember it either. It's like you talk about, sometimes you got to block it out so you keep going on. You know what I mean?
Right.
So who knows? Maybe I never get over that. You know what I mean?
Right. And you did. You played his enemy, like mortal enemy in this movie. And really, I didn't understand the conflict. I mean, because there for a while, it was like the movie plays out, right, Robbie, where it's like, you know, Donnie's character can't stand this guy. And this guy kind of seems like he's reaching out to him like, hey, brother, come on, man, let's put this behind us. And then you see the turmoil unfold and everything comes to play. Man, it's a great movie. You guys got to see it. I actually bought it on YouTube. You guys can buy it on YouTube or wherever you can find it. The movie Southie with Donnie Wahlberg. So,
Greg, let me answer this because you just brought it up, right? So you said mortal enemies, right? And you're like, what's it like to grow up in South Boston?
Yes, sir.
You every day can be in the same room as your enemy, your mortal enemy. You can be in the same room of that person, and you may just be tired of fighting that person.
Right. Wow.
Yeah. And then you know, someday someone's just missing. You know what I mean? It's like, who knows why things go the way they go, or why things happen. But you know, like that, you know, Southie, for anyone who knows, that's a true story. But I'm not going to tell you the truth. You got to figure it out for yourself. Like, you know, I was there, and that's the best part about it. See, I was there, I saw it, I was a part of it. You know, I wasn't a gangster. I had nothing to do with any of that. I was Donnie Wahlberg in that movie. You know, in real life, I was him. In real life, that happened to me, and you know, I had to fight that mortal enemy. You know, and it just never. It doesn't matter, see, because outside those boundaries, that fight doesn't matter. It only matters inside those city walls. It doesn't matter outside that.
So you left and went to New York, and Donnie's character left and went to New York.
Bingo.
And then you returned. So now it's all right. I see where this is going, brother.
Yeah.
So that's crazy, man. I mean, wow.
You know what, Drake? They can't kill me, bro. They've been trying. You can't kill me. It's
right.
the truth. It's like, you know, I mean, what can I say? It's like, to grow up there was so incredible. I have the greatest friends ever. Like, if I can call my friends right now and they'll pick up the phone, you know, they'll pick it up and I'll be like, hey, what's up? They'll be like, what's up? Not even as if any time has passed.
Right.
You know? And, you know, it's so great to have that. It's good to know that my life growing up there was worth something.
I had no idea that was your life story, brother.
You know, it's weird. I kept thinking that that's what it was. For some reason, I kept placing you in that character in my mind the whole time. I don't know why. And now it makes sense.
Because you were vibing.
You were vibing, brother. You were vibing. I love the movie,
That
and
makes sense.
oddly enough, the gentleman I work for was a producer of the movie, Bill McCutcheon. And man, I sat there last night and I watched it, and I called Robbie. I said, "Man, you got to watch this movie, dude. You know, tune into my YouTube and watch this movie." He's like, "What?" So
You know,
then
I'm curious though, because you didn't get any training. I mean, you didn't have anybody to learn from, and you wanted to do this, and you moved to New York. How did that first step happen to make that happen? What was the first thing that made that all fall into place? Besides the first night watching that show, but I mean, you actually like getting a gig or writing something or doing something. What was the catalyst to rolling that?
Well, I mean, what it was, well, you mean the catalyst in New York City? What was my first, or the catalyst in the movie?
You really both because.
Well, at the time, you know, like, and the reason Southie within itself, no one had ever been to Southie. You couldn't go to Southie. Like, people from Dorchester can't go to Southie unless you're related to someone in Southie. Like, you have to be related to someone in South Boston, go to South Boston, because those kids in South Boston had to fight their way through all those corners, right? So you have to have a relationship to one of those guys or a family, you know, to be able, because you got to walk by and say, I'm related to this person. That's how you get to go by from one place to the other, right? And they know, though, like, you only got to say something once. You know, everybody knows each other. And, you know, it's like the Cheers song where everybody knows your name. Look, that's a double-edged sword, right?
Right.
Everyone knows your name. And so what does that mean? It means that you were definitely judged by the actions you take growing up. You know, the reason why I got to make that movie is because I had so many friends. You know, I laugh. You know, you talk about, you know, Bill McCutcheon. Listen, Bill supported that film. Like, when he read the movie, he wanted to make the movie. He came. We got in his car. We drove to Boston one day, and you know, we went there. And you know, if you know Bill, listen, Bill's a great guy. He's a producer, he's an attorney, he's a family man. He's like a serious dude, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, we went into that city together, and, you know, we location scouted. He had never seen anything like that before,
Right.
you know, and he had family in Boston up on Beacon Hill. He had never been over there. And all those locations, we shot in Whitey Bulger's bars. That's Whitey, where Lawrence Tierney is. That's the basement of Whitey Bulger's liquor store.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So all those were shot in the places where you could imagine these types of things would happen.
Yeah.
And, you know, and it was done that way because I wanted to be as realistic and authentic as we could. And having producers that were supportive of that, it just made it all the way. Like, we first scouted Red Hook, Brooklyn. We scouted every other place. And then when it came right down to it, we had to shoot the movie in Southie. There's no other place.
I got to ask you, brother. So you're watching Donnie play you in your story, and you're standing there. I mean, how surreal is that for you? The same streets, the same places. I mean, the emotions and the memories and stuff had to have been just heavy, brother.
Not really, because it was heavy the day it happened. You know, listen. I remember it's just, when I think of it, all, like I said, you know, I had the emotions I have. All right, look, I wrote a poem this morning. You want to hear it?
Yes.
Let's hear it.
Here we go.
Absolutely.
When I wake up, I have to write down what's going on me. And Robbie, we'll record this one, okay? So I got up this morning, and when I write what I write what comes out of me, okay? I don't know what it's going to be when I write it, okay? So here we go. We bleed green. The sun has risen 2 seconds too late. Now I'm in prison behind a locked gate. Loads of work stuck in my mind, trying to empty it one breath at a time. Is it the anger from all the years past, creeping through my bones, arisen at last? Or is it that fear like a knife in the back, bleeding through my soul, choking it back? It doesn't matter because it won't last. Because of these words, this too shall pass. What color do you bleed when you're ripped apart? Because we Irish, we bleed green. We remember our past. A lifetime won't hurt us. It's one day at a time. People who know us say this all the time. We pray for our brothers. We fight for mankind. Because we Irish, we bleed green. We stand up and fight. When everything's lost and no one's on time, we Irish, we bleed green one day at a time. So
I love it.
I don't know why I wrote that. I have no idea, but I woke up this morning and I wrote that, you know, and I have no idea. So did I get that from growing up where I was at, or was I born with it? I have no friggin' idea.
I really, really like that, brother.
Well,
Of course, you know, being Irish descent and English descent, of course, you know.
There you go. Leave the date.
That is badass, brother. We bleed green.
We do.
I love it. Love it. All right, so Southie, you push it. You won some awards. Let's go on to some other things. So you were actually Donnie Wahlberg's acting coach in The Sixth Sense?
Well, yeah, I mean, we started working together on Southie. We had a plan, which was we were going to do this movie and then we were going to do a TV series together. So we did the movie, and then after the movie, he did such a good job, he started getting a lot of acting jobs. Well, I started getting a lot of writing jobs. So it was, you know, for me to work with him was easy. Like, you know, we had just spent all this time working on Southie together, and we had a really good shorthand. So, you know, for me to work with him and help him out was never a problem.
Right? That's incredible. So we were just talking about Bill. I see Bill's down in the thread. So thanks, Bill, for introducing us.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, man.
All right. So you worked with The Sixth Sense, Band of Brothers, Dreamcatchers, The Practice, Purgatory, Boomtown.
Yeah. You know what? Bruce Willis, not in Sixth Sense. Guy is awesome. Awesome. So, you know, like, there's a guy, when you show up and you do like great work, he's got no problem letting everybody know how great you are, man. He's fucking awesome. Like, he let Donnie did that role, and it was like right after, because, you know, he lost like 50 pounds to do that, right?
Yeah, that's
So,
insane.
and we have worked together throughout the whole process, but it was like, you know, no one paid any attention to Donnie. Like, we shot in the Philadelphia Convention Center, right? So they had built the interiors all inside the convention center. And, you know, when Donnie showed up, I mean, no one even knew who he was. He had lost all that weight. He's wearing a bathrobe, right? He's walking back and forth the set. Maybe the people knew him was just the costume designer and the makeup artist, right? So, like, for a whole day we're there, and he's like, he hasn't eaten, so he can barely move, you know? And even Bruce was walking behind his cell phone. Who the fuck is that? Like, he could give a shit. You know what I mean?
Right?
And it was like, when they said action and he did his first take, man, it was never the same after that.
Really?
Never.
Everybody knew who he was after that.
After that, they never.
You know, I was blown away because actually I watched the movie back in the day, and we got to the end. I was like, Donnie Wahlberg wasn't in the movie.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I had to go back, and I was like, that's Donnie Wahlberg? It was like, it was insane.
Yeah.
Insane. Yeah, he was, the part he played was incredible. I would have never guessed. Never guessed. You want to talk about the fighter, brother?
Sure. Whatever you want to know. Whatever you want to know about the fighter. I'll tell you, it was, you know, I put the fighter together. I put it together with a partner of mine, and it was a battle, man. It was the fight behind the fighter. You know, that there was a movie that wouldn't die. It was like, you know, luckily, we had the rights for 2 years. We were down to like literally the last week, and we had sent the script everywhere. Nobody wanted this movie. And there were probably maybe like 14 days left before the rights were up. And, you know, I had a friend of mine named Jimmy Fitzgerald, and I grew up with him my whole life. And, you know, he's a big fight fan. Him and his dad would tape every single fight. And I knew he had all the tapes, and I knew that he had the tape against Shane when Mickey Ward fought Shane. Shane, right? So I was like, so what we did was I called Jim up, and I'm like, Jim, listen, man, I really need to get my hands on that fight, you know, that championship fight when Mickey Ward fought over in England. And he said, he goes, I have it. And he sent it to me. It took me 8 days to cut the thing together, and then we brought the writers in and we put some cards in. So between the fights, we told what was going on with Mickey and Dickie the whole way through, because it was called Mickey and Dickie at the time. And when we were done, we gave it out on a Monday, and by Friday we had a bidding war. We had 5 studios bidding for the fighter, and you know, it was funny because they didn't want Mark Wahlberg, right? They didn't want him, and I was the only one who wanted him, right? And so the minute it was up, the minute that was up, I was like,
Wow.
I called Mark up. I'm like, hey, we just did a deal with Paramount. Like, the rights are there, baby. Go get it, man. And he went and he got it, and the rest is history. The rest is history. That kid got his hands on that script, and you know what? He was going to do this movie, The Boxer and the Blonde. He was trying to do that. And the minute, it was like he was Mickey Ward, man. He was Mickey Ward.
You'd said they wanted somebody else. They wanted Pitt, and they were talking about other people, and then the movie.
No, they had Brad Pitt for Dickie. They wanted, you know, Matt Damon for, you know, the Mickey role, and he was attached to it for a minute. But then, whatever, you know, in Hollywood, everyone falls out. But then when Mark got his hands on it, he wouldn't let it go. He wasn't going to fit. He was getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning. He was doing everything he needed to do for that, you know, to make it happen. And that's why it happened. You know, Johnny Drama, who, you know, Johnny Drama show. Well, there's a real Johnny Drama, right? There's Johnny Ellis. And I would see Johnny, and I'd be like taking these meetings at a place called Nick's Coffee Shop on Pico. So it's Pico and La Cienega. Nick's Coffee Shop, great coffee shop. And I will tell you that movie was developed out of that coffee shop.
Really?
And Johnny Drama, I'd say, Johnny, we almost got this movie done. We almost got it done. And I was like, right when it's done, I'm going to let you know, right? And it's funny because I thought when I would be done with it, like when it was done, I just thought everyone would want Mark. I just thought they would see it, right? And but you know, that's not it. It was Mark Wahlberg's destiny to see that movie through to the end.
Kristen Bale played an amazing role in the movie. Obviously lost a ton of weight, really played the role of somebody battling with addiction very incredibly well. But Mark Wahlberg was just beautiful in the role.
Oh, yeah. Well, he knows it. He grew up in that atmosphere, and, you know, he grew up, I mean, him and Mickey are the same. It's like they brothers and sisters. They had the older brothers, older sisters, you know. I mean, Mickey Ward's the nicest guy in the world. If you were to talk to him and sit with him, it's like, he's such a gentleman. You would never think that this dude is a friggin' lawnmower. You know what I mean? You just wouldn't think it. You know?
Right. And you said you met him when he was doing asphalt and stuff, just like in the movie.
Yeah. I met him. Yeah, he was an extra. He was doing this thing in Boston. It was this, I can't remember it. I mean, I can't remember. Let me see if I can look it up. Just while you're sitting there. Give me one.
No worries.
Because I want to see if I can remember what it is. Okay. Alrighty. Let's see here.
Tell me you're not loving this, Robbie.
That's great stuff.
It's good stuff, brother. Good stuff.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
I sat on the phone with him for an hour and a half yesterday. Just like,
Okay, so let's see. Let's see what it was called. Oh, it's called Floating, right? So it was called Floating. Floating was the name of it. So he was like an extra on Floating. He probably doesn't want anyone to know that.
All right. So we've got a producer that's going to come in and ask a couple questions from the audience. You okay with that, my brother?
Yeah, man.
All right, let's bring her in. We're bringing in Jessica. Jessica joining.
Hi.
Hi, Jessica.
Hi, Jimmy.
How are you?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm hanging in there.
I want to say I loved your poem. I was in tears. I had to wipe
Really?
I put on. I loved the poem. It's really good. And Robbie and I watched the movie last night. We really liked it. The selfie.
I sent it to Kenny Casey this morning from Dropkick Murphys. Kenny Casey's, you know, he put those guys, sent it to him because I thought maybe the Dropkick Murphys would like that. You know what I mean?
Oh, I loved it. I really liked it a lot. Okay, so we have some questions from the audience. Brenda Preston wants to know, if you could spend 1 hour and revisit one time in your life, when would that be?
It would be the hour before my daughter was born. I would make sure that I paid attention more. That's what I would do. I was out of my mind. I didn't know. Like people people have that moment when their child is born, right? I think I was so scared I didn't know it.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. We have a few more. George wants to know, well, he says he knows you do a lot of documentaries. So how do you choose who you do them on, and what inspires you to do the documentaries that you do?
I don't think it's you. I think those documentaries choose you, and then you can't get rid of them, and then you finish them.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Do we have time for another question?
Sure, one more.
So Jennifer wants to know, whose idea was it in the movie The Sixth Sense to come up with the line, "I see dead people"?
Oh, obviously that was Night's. That was M. Night Shyamalan. He tells his story of when he was a little boy, and he had waved up to some people up in a house, and the only one who saw him was him.
Cool.
Wow.
All right.
Wow. Thanks, Jess. Bring you back if you get some more.
Thanks.
So you were a staff writer for 20th Century Fox, is that right?
Yeah or no? Like I had a confidentiality agreement, and I was working for a very particular person, and I needed to get stuff done for him. So that's what I was doing.
I was kind of curious to find out, because a lot of people are like, what's a staff writer? They don't really know what's involved in that kind of thing, even if it's like a music staff writer or you're writing for films or whatever it might be.
I'll tell you what it is. As you know this, you go and you meet them on the Fox lot. This is what happened. I was on the lot. I was there for something else. I was on the elevator, and a guy says, "Hey, James, what's up?" And I said, "Hey, how you doing?" He says, "What are you doing there?" I said, "Oh, I'm going to meet these guys on this movie." He goes, "You need a job?" And it was weird because I did, but I didn't want to admit it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I was like, "Yeah."
Right.
And he's like, "Will you meet me here for lunch tomorrow?" And I said, "Yeah." So I went and I met him for lunch, and then he's like, "I have this thing I want you to do for me. It's important. I'll pay you X amount. When you do it, I need it, blah, blah, blah." So what they're telling you is basically when they send you something, they need you to drop what you're doing, do it, focus on it, know what it's all about. And then when they get you on the phone, they want to know what you know about it, right? And then if you have what they want, then they want you to write that down for them, right? Then of course you write it down, and then it moves forward, and then you're working with whoever it is you're working with when you do that. And then, there's a pecking order. There's always a pecking order. So there's always somebody that's in charge, and you're answering to that person, and that's what you do.
Wow. That's kind of incredible placement. I'm just in an elevator. Do you need a job just out of the blue? Yeah.
Dude, you have no idea. It was great. It paid me for so long. It was great money. The guy, I still have a great relationship with that guy today.
Awesome, brother. Awesome. So are you good with talking about your brother a little bit, with what he went through and the fact that you're the co-founder of Journey Forward?
Sure.
All right. So go ahead.
Like I said, I grew up, my father had died. My family survived that, and my youngest brother was 19 years old, and he was in college. And, I had made the movie Southie, and it had come out. It was a hit. I was hired to do something else. I could not sleep one night. I just couldn't sleep. I didn't know, something was bothering me. I took out a pen and I wrote, "I am afraid for my brother." And then my phone rang an hour later. It was my other brother telling me my brother broke his neck. And I was like, "What?" So he's telling me the story, but my brother is in shock too. He's like, "Okay, I'm going to go to bed now." And I'm like, "Whoa, where's Ma?" And he's like, "Well, she's at the hospital." I'm like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I just did a 24-hour shift." I said, "Oh, okay." So I called her on the phone, and when she answered it, she was watching the helicopter land on the hospital, and they were airlifting him from that lake that he was swimming at. So, he spent months in intensive care. Every day they're telling us he's going to die. And, you know, he was a fighter. He didn't die. He survived. When he survived, they said he'll be lucky if he ever feeds himself again, never mind walk. And, you know, that just, it changes your life, man.
Yeah.
Changes your life.
How's he doing?
He's doing great. You know, we started a nonprofit organization called Journey Forward. You know, well, the reality is this. When he broke his neck, of course, we never knew ever, you know, and he had a dream, and his dream is to walk again, you know, and I don't know, maybe I sold that you can make your dreams happen or something. You know what I mean? I have no idea, but somehow he latched onto me and wanted me to help him, and I did. And then he came out to California, and we found a place where he could go. And, you know, he when he got there, he was so determined. I mean, he was determined. And it was hard because even the place was like, you know, you're probably never going to walk again, right? And like everyone's preparing him for this. You're not going to walk again. You're not going to walk again. And it pissed him off, man. It did. And there was a point where, you know, I was with him 24/7, and then he was able to get his clothes on by himself. And then we taught him how to drive. Like he learned how to drive. And then, so he was driving himself. So he had an apartment. He was getting from his apartment to the facility, and then he was getting himself back. And, you know, he had learned how to cook his 3 meals a day, and he had done those things. So see, he was making his way.
Right.
And then one day he called me up and he's like, I'm out in front of your house. I'm like, what do you mean? When I opened the door, he was walking on a walker up the walk.
Yeah, baby.
That's so like he would not be denied and what he said he was going to be able to do. And he did it. And then we started a nonprofit organization, and, you know, so Journey Forward is a spinal cord injury facility. We're #1 in the world. You know, if you break your neck, that's the place to go, because there are people that believe you can walk, and 15 people have got up out of their wheelchairs, and, you know, there's only 100 people there. Do the math.
Wow, brother.
Oh, yeah.
That's so inspirational. I think it's all a place of mind, man. And that's exactly what he just wouldn't give up.
Yeah.
That's so cool, man. So cool. So cool. And coming from somebody who's got back problems, I envy that, because I know how painful back problems can be.
You know, I don't even know. Like, it's funny. The thing is, the kid, he broke his back, right? Like, he broke his neck. I mean, and like, he never complains. He doesn't complain, you know? He just doesn't. I mean, he's a pain in my ass, but he doesn't complain, you know?
Right on, brother. So here we are, current day. You got a kick-ass show that you've got me binge watching, and I'm addicted now to City on a Hill, with Kevin Bacon and an all-star cast. But more than that, brother, it's freaking addictive.
Yeah, it's you know what? Right now, Black Lives Matter, right? They've always mattered, but right now, right, Black Lives Matter. And this is about that.
Yeah.
That's what this show is about. This show is about Black Lives Matter. You know what I mean? It really is. And Aldous Hodge, who's in this, who plays the prosecutor who comes from New York,
right?
He comes to Boston because he wants to fuck that place up, right?
Right.
And, you know, and he does. Like, he's great. This guy, Aldous Hodge, is an amazing actor.
He's great.
Oh, dude, he goes toe-to-toe with Kevin Bacon. Kevin Bacon is phenomenal in this show, right? Is he
right.
not?
Is he? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, and it's like,
and
I never let Kevin know, like, so like when we were making the show, because, you know, I produced the pilot and blah, blah, blah. So like, as we're making the show, I never let him even know that I was in it, right? So like, I'm producing it all along, and now like all of a sudden now I'm the bad guy. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, it's kind of funny because, you know, you don't ever, like, when we're producing it, I didn't even want him to even think, because you'll see, you'll know in the beginning, like those first few episodes, right? And I hate to give anything away, but it was like, I had realized, even with when Jonathan Tucker, because he plays Frankie, right?
Right.
Imagine I'm with him for like a whole freaking day, like all day. We're hanging out that night, and I'm with the showrunner. I'm with the Chuck who wrote it, right? And so he's like, you know, finally he's like, who's playing Tommy, man? Like, who's playing Tommy? And I had been there the whole time. Imagine, I didn't say a word, right? And Chuck was like, Jimmy is, right? Now, I didn't tell my family I didn't tell anyone I was doing this, because You know what I learned about being an actor? No one gives a fuck. Nobody. They only give a fuck when you do a good job. That's all they care about. That's it, you know? And so I learned, you know, I mean, you learn. It's like being an actor is really becoming the character you need to become and then show up, do your job and leave. You know, that's literally what it is. And, you know, I learned how to do that. And thank God I did, because now I love it. I love it because I know how to go and do my job, and I know how to get out of there, and I know how to be a part of something. So like when I watch City on a Hill, you know, for me, it's exciting because, you know, although I made Southie and I'm from Boston, I grew up in Boston, I wrote that movie and I made that movie. This City on a Hill is Chuck McLean's baby. Him and Ben Affleck put this together. Ben put it together. Ben brought in Chuck. Matt and Ben and Chuck, you know, got this at Showtime. Jennifer Todd is a partner with Ben and Matt and Chuck. And, you know, she really made it happen with those guys. And I was fortunate enough to, you know, when they were making it, they invited me to be a part of it. And, you know, I was just incredibly blown away. And to this day, I still am.
It's an amazing cast. Here, we'll throw up a picture of the cast, some of the cast here. What a great cast.
That's Kevin Aldis. That's Mark O'Brien, and that's Jonathan Tucker next to him.
Let's see, brother, you should be the boss on the bad guys, man. I mean, look at this dude. All right, Robbie, I got to show you this.
I am. When you watch a show, I am the boss.
All right. I'm on episode 4 right now. I'm on episode 4.
No.
So
that ain't binge watching. Episode 4, binge watching. You should be done already.
Robbie, binging to you and him are different things, I'm sure.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So check this out. This dude, here you go. This dude right here can play a badass. Look at this guy. Look at these pipes on this dude.
Pipes apiece. The pipes.
Come on, man.
Pipes apiece. Born with those.
Right? What is that, an extra large sticker you got on there from some shirt or something?
Yeah, it was you know what? I brought the shirt to I was getting pictures taken. I didn't even see the sticker. Like, see, I have glasses. I didn't see the sticker on the shirt. The guy's taking the picture. He goes, hey, he takes it off. He goes, the sticker on your shirt, right? So then what happened was he took it off, and then when I took the shirt, he was like, Jesus Christ, look at the size of your arms, like that. He put that on there and took the picture. So that's kind of how that picture came to be, you know.
That's badass. So we got some comments coming in. One from Brenda that says, your soul has had so much journey. I think you have such an amazing and real spirit. Love sharing some plain out honesty. Love hearing some plain out honesty.
Wow.
Dale says, how many Wahlburgers have you ate at?
What's that?
How many Wahlburgers have you ate at?
3.
3.
I know I ate at 3, and I freaking love the burgers. Yeah.
Are they good?
Yeah, man. Go to the one in South Bay, right next to Southie. Bob Wahlberg. That's his spot, right? And Bob Wahlberg's in Sitting on a Hill. He plays that cop, the one who's always butting heads with Kevin Bacon. He plays God, it slips my freaking mind, but he's my favorite character in the whole show.
Right.
God,
he's the one that's always telling off Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, like he's like, okay, you can do better than that, I'm sure, right? Like it's like everything about that guy, everything. It's just amazing.
So Wahlburgers, Paulie can really throw down some burgers, huh?
Oh yeah. Oh, Paul's the best. You know, I just saw Paul. He did a charity dinner and he cooked for Greg Aganis, who's a friend of mine. He's, you know, the greatest college football player that was Harry Aganis. And I was born on April 20th. You like that, Robbie? 420, baby, right?
420. Damn straight.
Yeah. So I was born at 420, and Harry Aganis was born at 420, but he was born in 1930. I'm making a movie about Harry Aganis called The Golden Greek, but Greg Aganis had a dinner, and he had it for my brother, and he had a charity event, and it was like, we had the Millennium Towers in Boston, the biggest, tallest building in Boston, and it was awesome. Paul came, he cooked for everybody. He made it a wonderful experience.
Nice, brother. Nice. So I got to ask you, because normally you're sporting the nice, you know, good looking Irish hair. What's going on with the hawk, brother? Why are you sporting the hawk?
I would tell you, but I don't want to get in trouble with the show.
Oh. Oh.
They told us, they're like, hey, by the way, like, you know, they obviously we're not supposed to be doing any interviews and shit, but you know what? Like Bill McCutcheon calls me. He predates all of this stuff. So,
Right.
you know, I wanted to get on the show. I wanted to talk to you guys. I wanted to see Robbie, right? I wanted to see you. I wanted to like see what it is we could yap about, you know. And but the hairdo is the only thing I can't talk about.
All right. Well, it looks good, man. It suits you.
I think we're gonna keep it, right?
Are you?
I think so, right?
It's pretty badass. I think I'd do it, but Bill might fire me, brother.
He ain't gonna fire you.
I've thought about doing it for years. I've thought about doing it. I just haven't done it. Of course, Jessica is like, no, don't. I'm like, come on.
Well, you
So
can
what?
now, right?
I
Because
could.
like, hey, you know. It's
Why
like
not?
your
It's
hair's
kinda
cool,
cool.
Robbie. I had hair like your hair literally back in 1999, right? And it's like that was when it was my favorite, you know. And it's
Yeah.
like everyone's as an actor though, right? It's like everybody looks like Marines these days. They got all these short, high and tight things. Very rarely do you see guys with long hair if they're not actually in a role, right?
Right.
Right. Absolutely. So you were talking about Johnny Drama Drama. You were saying that this guy's a character, dude. We watched him on the Wahlburgers.
Now let's see if I can get him on the phone. Want to see if we can do that?
Yeah,
Cousin?
absolutely.
Let's see if I can get him. 'Cause I haven't
So-
talked. He called me and I owed him a call. Well, do you guys have time? You want to see if we get Drama on the phone?
Sure.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
brother. Let's see if we can get him on the show.
Oh, he's going to do the show. I already talked. Well, we'll hit him up right now together.
There you go.
If you don't know, Robbie, Drama is the Wahlberg's cousin, and he's done a whole lot of stuff.
He's cousin. That's his nickname's cousin, right? Well, it's funny. Watch, he'll go brother when he answers. Watch.
Hey, brother.
I'm brother. He's cousin.
Well,
Cousin.
what's up, buddy?
So I'm being interviewed right now by DJ Drake, and he's right, and Robbie is on here too from Judas Priest. You know Robbie?
Rob, is he the guitar player?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know of him.
Well, he's right. I'm there. Let me put you don't get FaceTime. I got you on speakerphone, Drama. You're on this show right now with me because they're a big fan of yours on that show. I said, let's see if we can get him on the air.
Absolutely.
So you're actually on a Zoom right now, Drama.
Tell him what's happening. What's up, Robbie?
What's happening, man?
How are you,
Just-
brother?
Doing good. Doing very good. How you doing?
I thank God I'm breathing. The rest is gravy. You know that.
Yep.
Especially with all this shit going on, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Say what's up to DJ Drake too.
What's up, DJ Greg?
Drake, DJ Drake.
Oh, Drake?
Drake, yeah. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
Man, I thank God everything's good, my brother. How about you?
I'm blessed, my friend. I'm blessed sitting here with our good friend, and Jimmy is just incredible. Love to get you on the show sometime.
You in
That's
the
my brother.
you in the
Absolutely.
you in the studio right now, Johnny? You in the studio?
No, actually, my son's in there with his little group.
Okay.
But I'm just walking the dog, believe it or not. I'm walking one of the dogs.
They
I feel
want
like,
they want to get you on this show. You're gonna commit to it?
absolutely.
Done.
All right.
Right on, my brother. Well, Jimmy's got my number, and he's more than welcome to give it to you, and we can make it happen.
So Johnny, I'll call you when I'm done. They want to get you on there, but I know I owe you a call, and I'll call you right when I'm done. All right, brother?
No worries, brother. God bless, guys. Nice
God
All
bless.
right. Cool.
Yeah, he's
Wow.
out walking his dog. He's down the Cape right now, so he's out, doing his thing. But I'll call him afterwards. I'll put you guys in touch. You got to have him on, man. He's got
Cool.
make sure he's in his studio, and so his band right now is Johnny Drama, and the Johnny Drama and his Funky Entourage. So he has a band right now that he is out there and he's performing all the time. So he's doing that when he's not. I guess they just did their last episode of Wahlburgers, right? I think they're done with that now.
Yeah, that's what I saw. We watch it religiously, but I get stuck in the reruns because of, that's how I do things. I binge watch things.
Yeah, sure you do.
Yeah, he watches 2 shows in a row. He's binged out.
Shit, man. I watched that show 000 like in 2 days.
Really?
000. I haven't heard of that
Oh,
one.
Rob, 000 is a phenomenal show. It's on Amazon, I believe.
Oh, okay. We got that. Cool.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
000. I'm gonna have to check it out.
I'll check it out too. I'll binge watch it. I've been binge watching all these zombie stuff. I watched, was it Black Summer? I just watched the whole season. There's only 1 season. I liked it.
Yeah.
Also, I'm binge watching, was it Z Nation? Got through Walking Dead, Fear of the Walking Dead, and I'm finishing up Z Nation right now. I'll sit there and just play guitar for, the whole time.
Yeah. How the hell do you do it? You know what's funny, Rob? Just so you know, dude, I've been trying to learn. It's these fingers. I have stone hands, these hands of stone. I literally sit and I try to play all the time. And I just, honestly, I think I'm musically retarded. I can say the words. It's like, but I see you guys. When I see you do what you do, I don't understand. It's so unbelievable to me. You know what I mean?
It's just a lot of repetition and just a lot of listening, really comes down to the listening, a lot of it. Because
you hear everything, right? You hear, when you're playing, you actually hear it all, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep.
Do you have a setup, Robbie?
What's that?
Do you have a setup by you so you can show them your insane speed before we throw this out here?
I mean, I have
grab a
guitar sitting here. What's that?
Grab a guitar and just show them your work, man. It is.
I mean, I always got a guitar sitting handy, but I don't know if you can.
Oh, I see it.
I can plug it in.
Plug it in, please, sir.
The little practice amp I use here is it's real clean. I don't use the distortion or anything. I just put it on a clean channel and I play.
Play away.
Doesn't really come through here. Okay, let's see. What do you want me to play? Strumming too. Okay, what do you want me to play?
What do you feel like playing?
Shoot, man, I just love playing anything, really. I mean, I maybe play maybe some classical. Or, could play some rock.
Wait,
stuff.
Painkiller?
What's that?
Painkiller?
Painkiller. How
about
Electric Eye? Electric Eye?
Yeah, baby.
I love Electric Eye. One of my favorite
ones. Do you know Working Class Hero, like that John Lennon song, A working class hero is something to be. Do you know that song?
Don't know it. I know of it. I can't hear it in my head. If I could hear it in my head, I could probably play it. But
yeah. I only ask because, I never hear anyone ever play that song outside of John Lennon. You know what I mean? And it's such I think that for me anyway, that's his best. I mean, how can you say his best song? No one can ever fucking say it, right? But it's but you can, it's when you listen to, I met Ringo Starr, I met him in London, and I said to him, because I wrote a movie called Working Class Hero. I actually sold it to Gail Ann Hurd, the producer of The Walking Dead, okay?
Wow.
So I wrote that movie, I sold it to her, and then I was in London, and I met Ringo Starr, and we were hanging out, and I said to him, I wrote a movie called Working Class Hero. He said, John wrote that song for us. I said, really? He says, yeah, Working Class Hero. And it freaking sent a chill down my spine when he said that. Wow. And I don't know why it did, but it did, And it's because you just think you know, obviously Robbie, right? You guys, right? You sit and like, your guys are artists, right? And people gun down somebody who sings the truth, right?
Right.
And fuck, man, when they're gone, it's like their music, like you know, people say, oh, is Paul better? Is John better? Is Paul better? It's like, first of all, I mean, I don't think you could ever say anything like that at all, right? But it's like, but like John Lennon, he's been gone for so long now.
Yeah, 40 years. 40 years.
Yeah, and his music to this day, if I put, you know, watching the wheels go round and round, I sit and now I identify with that song.
Yeah.
Right, but I couldn't identify with that song probably the first time I heard it because I was blown away by the song. But now, you know, all these years pass, I've lived a life, and now I'm watching the wheels go round and round, you know?
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll sit in my studio almost every morning and I'll sit and crank up Instant Karma. I don't know what it is about the song, but
I'm gonna get you, grab you by the face, and
yeah,
get you, right?
Yeah.
I think that, you know, it's like I get up and I write this stuff. I don't know, man. I write what's going on inside of me, and I put it down like that. I sat down when I wrote that this morning. I was like, the last verse, I was like, I'm gonna make this a song. Like it's just whatever's going on in my head, you know. And you sit and you're like, man, people sit like when you think John Lennon, Paul McCartney, you know, George Harrison.
Oh yeah.
Ringo Starr. I mean, it's like, are you kidding me? I mean, it sounds like, I think George wrote the best songs, right? In the end of the day, he actually wrote the best songs, right?
Yeah.
And why? Because they all, what are we, it's like John sings Imagine, right? And George writes Dear Sweet Lord.
Right.
And yet they don't believe in the same thing. They grew up together in the same band. They don't believe in the same thing. But one guy sings one thing and you know that's true. And that's real. And that friggin' guy is going to see God, right?
Right.
And then you got this other guy who says, sings Imagine. It's the perfect song. He's trying to get everybody just to imagine what it would be like if we could just all be friends.
Yep. We're all family, and how ironic is it that song actually led to his death?
Well,
yeah.
You know, I was in a yoga class one time, and a lady was upset that the yoga instructor played that song during class.
Seriously?
Yeah, she was upset about that. She thought that, you know, I don't know, I guess she didn't like the song. I remember her complaining to the teacher, and I remember thinking like, wow, she needs yoga.
Yeah, she needs yoga.
Right? I was thinking, that lady needs yoga, right? Because you know, again, I was probably 30 years old in the class at the time. I mean, I'm 50 years old. That was 20 years ago, right? So it like that stuck in my mind. When I heard that and she said that, I never forgot that. I never forgot that this woman had a problem with a yoga instructor playing Imagine during the yoga class.
Can't be friends with somebody who doesn't appreciate Imagine.
Yeah.
Period. I tried yoga once. I had to call the fire department, brother.
You know, you know, DJ Drake, what you have to do is you need to take Epsom salt baths.
Okay.
And you have to do yoga very slowly. And if you go online and it's called Inhale with Steve Ross, type in Steve Ross on YouTube. He plays great music. They're 44 minutes. Do it very slowly. You don't focus on the movement. You focus on the breath. You breathe in and you breathe out and you move. You're not doing what somebody else is doing. You're just breathing through that, because what happened? You hurt your back because you didn't breathe one day and you moved.
Right. Right. I've got a hideous curvature in my back. They said it wasn't scoliosis. They said it was muscle strain that actually twisted my back. So from my neck to my shoulder blades, it looks like a giant question mark.
So do you sleep with your head on the same side every night? Like
I do. Yeah. And I get the numbing and then thighs going numb and all the nerve pain and all that fun stuff. But
Epsom salt baths.
Epsom salt.
Because
Thanks, brother.
all of that, I mean, you know what? Everything comes from our brain. Like, it's all thinking, right? It's all thinking. Thoughts create stress, right? Yeah. Stress creates tightness. It makes you stop breathing, you know, and it's just like, you know, it's all about the breath. You got to get that breath back.
That's it.
It's the same thing, like even with playing music on stage or just in the studio or whatever, it's all in the head. Once you've got the kind of the dexterity going, if you're not thinking properly, your playing could be out the window. I mean, sometimes I can just, and it's almost like you're beyond the thinking. When you're really on it, it's kind of like, it just comes out. But it's like you're thinking, but you're not. But it's the same kind of thing.
Yeah, totally. You know, breathing is everything, man. Breathing, it's like breathing is everything. It doesn't matter. No one gets by without it, you know?
That's right.
That's it. Jimmy, I can't thank you enough for coming on with us tonight, my brother.
Thank you very much for having me. It was an absolute pleasure. Robbie, thank you very much. And thank you to everybody else. DJ Drake, I appreciate it. Please give Bill McCutcheon my best, and I'll be seeing you guys very soon.
Let's stay in touch, my brother. Absolutely. Thanks so much.
Cool.
Jimmy Cummings, right here on the Hangout Live. I'll tell you what, dude. I've talked to him a lot in the last couple of days, and I think I got a bro crush. The dude's just cool as hell. I've got a bro crush.
Bro crush. Yeah, he's cool.
I got a bro crush. The dude's cool as hell, man.
Yeah, he is, totally.
Some of the stories, man, I had zero idea that movie was about his life.
You know what? It's so weird that I kept putting him in that place. And then when he said that, it was almost like a light went on. And the whole time when we were talking about it too, I kept thinking he was the main character. He was the Donnie Wahlberg part. But knowing fully that he was the bad guy. Yeah, I don't know. It's just strange. And then all of a sudden when he said that, I went, oh, okay, I don't feel so weird thinking that. Now it kind of makes sense.
How bizarre is it that I chose that story about the photo that Donnie Wahlberg's looking at?
Oh, yeah, right?
And it's actually his dad, man. I mean, like,
yeah,
that was crazy. I kind of felt bad because he looked like he got a little emotional, but
he did get emotional. I could see that's what he had said with the family. They kind of hide it, you know, with, you know, the tears and stuff. But, you know, it's probably like that he did even say that maybe we need to cry. And it's kind of like, yeah, maybe you do, you know? Yep. Maybe you need to get it out and talk about it, man. Talk about him. Shoot.
Absolutely. Hey, can you grab me a T-shirt? Thank you.
Oh, you want me to use my T-shirt?
Let's see your T-shirt, baby. So we had a beautiful show tonight. Thanks so much to Jimmy Cummings. Thank you, Bill McCutcheon, for making that possible for us.
Thanks for putting me on the spot, not being warmed up. My hands are stiff.
Sorry, brother. You know how it is. He was a fan of yours, man. I had to get you to play.
Well, yeah. If I was warmed up just a second, I was like, oh, a little stiff. Just give me a minute.
So the Hangout Live T-shirts are here. Get your order in. We're actually really running out of stock. You know, you'd always do that pressure sales. Supplies are limited, but actually they are, and they're almost gone. So if you want to get one, you can contact me directly, or you can go on our website. You get that, and you get a show photo. Signed by these two crazy guys.
Ooh.
So yeah, it's fun, man, and it just goes to help pay for the things that put the show together.
Sweet.
So support us, please. Backbeat Music, as always, we love you very much. Thanks so much for being part of our show.
And next week,
let me get one more sponsor, Media Jaw, Jody Gentry. We appreciate you very much. Go to www.thehangout.live.
And the wine sponsor, there's the bottom of that one glass. It wasn't even a full glass. That's it. That's all I drink every week. Last week I drank a little more because the show kept going, so I kept drinking.
It did go, and this one went too.
It did. It was good.
It was really good. Next week we got Stuart Marriott. I just spoke with him today. Just a little while ago, actually. He's over in the UK. He's going to be over there for 6 months. And I'm going to say it right here because he guaranteed it today. He's making that movie, The Rise of the 2000 Suns. Let me see my phone so I can say exactly what he said. So jokingly, I said, Remember, I get to get decapitated in your movie, right? So he said, I'll show it right here. It says, yes, you do. In the final battle scene where the warriors of Dirthian have offered 1,005 warriors to die for peace, I'm going to die in a movie. That's it.
You only die once
In a movie.
Well,
Why's
that's
my
not true.
color changing? Look at me. I look like I have jaundice.
Yeah.
Now I'm healthy. Pepsi. Now I'm healthy. What the heck's going on there? Yours isn't doing it.
Just kind of got this hue.
Huey?
Huey, reddish hue.
All right. So
Anyhow,
that's
whatever.
the show. That's the show for tonight, man. We love
That
each
is it.
one of you. What do you want to do? There it is. We'll see you next week.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace.